Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. A primary school in Kowloon Tong will partially suspend classes after a dozen students came down with COVID. At least 12 people are killed in the United States over the weekend, following a string of mass shootings. The government has played down fears of a COVID outbreak at the city's schools after more than 200 cases were reported today. This came after Hong Kong's infections surpassed 500 for the second consecutive day. Macy Malt reports.
Hong Kong reported 543 cases today, a slight rise from yesterday, while 86 cases were imported. What's causing concern was a spike in COVID infections at schools, with 204 cases reported today. But the Center for Health Protection dismissed fears of an outbreak, saying the cases were mostly scattered.
They are coming from more than 140 schools. So each school may have one or two cases mostly, and a few of them have more than 2 or 3 cases. So this reflects the situation in the community. So this may not reflect there is outbreak in those schools.
But Funful English Primary School has been told to partially suspend classes. The order came after 12 students from 4 classes at its Kowloon Tong campus tested positive for COVID. 3 classes will now suspend lessons for 1 week. Over to the bar clusters, another 15 customers of LINQ on Pottinger Street have tested positive, taking the tally to 93. The Shuffle nightclub cluster in Lang Kwai Fong expanded to 85, 16 more than yesterday. Authorities also warned people wishing to make positive declarations on the RAT reporting platform to heed their instructions for verification. That's after a quarter of 300 people who made such reports since Thursday were later found to be false positive. Chuang also noted a growing number of people who refused to submit a follow-up PCR sample. She said people who provide fake information or purposely lie to health officials may face legal action. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Daily COVID infections across the mainland have remained low at just 86. But a new epicenter could be forming in Inner Mongolia, where 49 cases were reported. Beijing, meanwhile, has declared victory on COVID after no new cases were reported today. Curbs are being lifted across the capital, with dine-in services resuming at restaurants and workers returning to their offices. But residents still need to present a negative PCR test from the past 72 hours to enter most public venues. While most of Shanghai is emerging from a months-long lockdown, some residents were shocked to find huge crowds at hospitals. Back in Hong Kong, Financial Secretary Paul Chan insisted that the government has no plans to review the linked exchange rate system, which pegs the city's currency to the US dollar. His pledge came after lawmakers wanted the government to clarify its position on the linked mechanism at a Legislative Council panel meeting. Chen said the exchange rate is still stable and provides confidence to the international community. Former Monetary Authority Chief Joseph Yam echoed Chen's remarks, saying the city should maintain the currency peg with the greenback. He told the South China Morning Post that it is unlikely the U.S. would impose a nuclear option-like financial sanction on the SAR, or ban the city from using the US dollar for transactions. The Social Welfare Department confirmed that it has slashed $18 million of funding to the Society for the Protection of Children, which is embroiled in an abuse scandal. At least 40 children at the Society's residential home in Prince Edward were allegedly abused last year. Authorities explained that the affected children have since been hospitalized or relocated elsewhere, so part of the home's accommodation funding has been withheld. The society has pledged to overhaul its management, with the new director only appointed last month. For the first time in Hong Kong, a residential hall for university students at Wong Chuk Hang is being built using modular construction methods. And a raft of technology will be used to remotely monitor the quality and progress of the modules, which are produced in Guangdong province. Joanna Ho reports.
While Hong Kong has long faced a housing shortage, its top university is also racing against time to meet growing demand for student residences. To make up for lost time caused by COVID-induced delays, Hong Kong University is relying on new technology to speed up construction. This is a mock-up of its latest dormitory, currently placed in Lau Fau Shan for preview. It uses modular integrated construction in a pilot scheme supported by the Development Bureau.
I'm standing inside one of the shared student units, which is composed of multiple prefabricated modules. There will be around 1,000 of these modules, and when stacked together, they'll make up two 17-story buildings.
The modules are manufactured in Guangdong province, and border restrictions have made it difficult for project managers to visit the factory. To overcome the logistical hurdle, the school has devised a system which facilitates remote inspections. Contractors on the mainland will upload photos and videos, and responsible parties in Hong Kong will visually inspect the quality and progress. Principal investigator Wilson Liu insisted the process is just as meticulous.
Actually, now the photos are in very higher resolutions. Like an average size of the photos is like 6 megabytes. Once the inspector feels the quality is not good enough, they can simply point it out. So they do the re-inspection, redoing the photo again.
Before the modules leave the factory, a device containing a GPS tracker as well as temperature and humidity sensors will be attached. Such information can be accessed real-time during shipment. Apart from time savings, Estate Director Tam King Leung said the system has reduced the project's cost by around 8%. If all goes well, students can start moving into the Wong Chuk Hang premises by summer next year. The team also confirmed plans to employ the system in a similar development project in Pok Fu Lam. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Turning overseas, it was yet another deadly weekend in the United States after a spate of shootings left at least 12 people dead and 38 injured. A research group has suggested that over 240 mass shootings have already taken place in the country so far this year. Chloe Fong reports.
Online footage showed that 3 people were fighting on the streets of Philadelphia before a number of gunshots rang out, and a screaming passersby ran away in panic.
I just saw people running, and so my main job was to make sure that nobody ran into the establishments.
The incident took place at a popular entertainment district in downtown Philadelphia late Saturday night, when hundreds of revelers were on the street. Police officers patrolling nearby rushed to the scene upon hearing gunshots and witnessed several suspects firing into a large crowd. One officer fired at a gunman from about 10 meters away, but could not ascertain if the suspect was hit. Police later confirmed that 2 men and 1 woman were killed in the shooting, while a dozen others were wounded. No arrests have been made so far.
Yesterday was a dark day for Philadelphia. At this time, we believe that one of the 3 decedents was a male involved in a physical altercation with another male that was potentially the genesis of the shooting.
Just hours later, another gun rampage took place at a nightclub in the state of Tennessee, taking the lives of 3 people and injuring 14 others. 2 of them died from gunshot wounds, while the 3rd fatality was hit by a vehicle while trying to flee the scene. Local police believed the shooting had stemmed from a dispute. There were more exchanges of gunfire in Arizona, South Carolina, Georgia, and Michigan over the weekend, with teenagers among the victims. The spate of gun violence came on the heels of a plea from President Joe Biden to tighten arms control following a horrific attack at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, which left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. Research group The Gun Violence Archive estimated that at least 240 mass shootings had already taken place in the United States so far this year. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's private sector expanded at its fastest pace in 11 years, as the city gradually recovers from the COVID-induced economic slump. The city's benchmark Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, climbed to 54.9 in May, marking the highest level since 2011. The index was up from 51.7 in April. Any reading above 50 indicates expansion, or anything below signals contraction. The indicator is in line with the government's forecast of a strong rebound following the 5th COVID wave. Hong Kong's first quarter economy contracted for the first time in over a year due to stringent social distancing measures. While mainland-related orders are still affected by China's ongoing COVID curves, local businesses remain optimistic about the near-term outlook. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng ended the day up 571 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Meituan picked up $17.90, Tencent was up $8.60, while Alibaba was up $4.65. The Tracker Fund was up 56 cents, while Wuxi Biologics was up by $5.90. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.41, the pound sterling at 9.85, while the Australian dollar at 5.67. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up by 95 points. On to the weather now. Brace for heavy rain and thunderstorms tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 26 and 29 degrees. Similar conditions in the coming days. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching. Good night.